Welcome back, guys, to another video. This is one of my subscriber shout-outs. Well, I don't even know if this guy is a subscriber or not, but he's a contributor to the channel. Whether you leave a positive comment about my analysis or whether you give a negative comment, I don't even, well, you know what? I don't really look at it as positive or negative. I look at it as just critique. So I think that the way we perceive certain things that are given to us is going to dictate the way we respond. So if I look at it like it's negative, then I'm going to end up being negative. But I look at all things as critique. Even if it may not be something that I want to hear, I have to actually listen to it and consider the sentient being that's sending me that message as a valuable person, as a valuable entity on the planet, that they're giving me information. I don't necessarily have to agree with it, but I'm going to respect it. So this is a guy, his or she, I don't know if it's a woman or a man, but it's at Phyllis Taylor. This is the profile name, at Phyllis Taylor. I'm giving you a shout out, as I promised you that I would. The person responded to the message that I gave him when I remember I made a video, guys, when I made a comment about the two brothers missing the first team's practice to do a photo, do some, go to Paris to do a modeling runway gig thing. And I talked about that. And I talked about how that was not a good sign. Like when you're trying to rebuild a team and you're the leaders of the team and it just sends the wrong message. Certain people looked at it like I was looking too deep into it. Some people looked at it like, look, the season's 8 months away. It's not a big deal. But I look at all these little things as big deals. So in other words, my critique was a critique. I wasn't hating on the Sanders family. I wasn't being negative. I was just telling you what I thought, or giving you my personal opinion about what I felt about the actions that those two brothers took. So at Phyllis Taylor, he or she responded, they told me that I need to stop. Verbatim, I'm going to read what they said verbatim, word for word, so I'm not putting words in their mouth. The commenter said, please stop. Seems like you're just trying to make money or obtain notoriety off of Colorado Buffaloes football players or Coach Prime / Sanders' name. I'm not sure who's misleading you, or are you misleading yourself? But you certainly cannot see into the future, or you're certainly not prophetic. Coach Prime is a blessing to you. Probably if it was not for him, we would probably never heard of you or know who you are. So who are you again? So the reason why I read that is because it forced me to look deep within my consciousness. And I had to ask myself, am I really doing this to gain notoriety? Number one, I'm not getting any money from this anyway. Yes, my subscribers has grown, but it's not like I'm growing like 1,000 a day. I mean, I just make videos often. I think the often you are on a social media platform is just by any inevitable metric, I'm going to be known. The more videos I put out, the more people are going to get me on their home feeds, and they may listen to me and they may like what I say and they may subscribe, but I'm not doing it for subscriptions and I'm not doing it for money. I have a job that pays my bills. So that's not why I'm doing it. I'm not on here telling you guys to subscribe and like my videos, and share. I don't say that. I just talk, and I like dialogue. So a lot of the times I'll tell you guys, leave a comment, tell me what you guys think. That's all I want. So when I heard this, I looked within myself, and I don't agree that I'm doing it for money, because I'm not making any money off of it. I don't even know how you make money off of YouTube. I don't know if you have to have like millions of subscribers. I'm far from millions. I only have like 400. So if this is me trying to make money, is a very poor attempt at making money, because time is money. It's going to take me a lot of time to build up that type of subscription backing to be able to make money and monetize off of my channel. So I don't think I'm doing that for money. Notoriety, no one relatively knows who I am, so I'm not doing this for notoriety. As a matter of fact, I like to stay low-key, but I like doing these videos because I like responding to people and hearing people's opinions about my opinions. So it's a way just to, network with a community of people. And then the commenter also says here that he's not sure who's misleading me. Well, no one's leading me or misleading me. I'm leading myself. So I guess to answer your question, I'm the one misleading myself, because no one's leading me. No one told me to do this. I'm just doing it because I want to. I'm passionate about Colorado football. Ever since Coach Prime decided to go there. I want to see them succeed. I wanted them to do well, and they're just not doing as well as I thought that they would in terms of the product on the field. I'm not looking at the 4 games that they won. I'm looking at how they looked. I'm looking at how they played. Not every win is a win to me. You could win in the record, and the record may say you won, but how you looked is gonna, pretty much dictate how your end of the season will go. And those first 3 games were a shock to everyone's equilibrium. Everyone was like, whoa, this team first year, he takes over a team that won 1 game. We're not taking over the same exact team, but he's coming into a program that won 1 game with different players, of course. But still, to just rattle off 3 wins in a row was amazing. But I saw a lot of things in those wins that caused me to start to ask questions. And when I start to hear other people lay down their critiques, it started to make sense. So I'm very open-minded. But here, I don't think I'm not being misled. If I am being misled, then I must be the one misleading myself, because no one's leading me in doing this. And you said that I cannot see into the future. You're certainly not prophetic. Yeah, I'm not. I never said I was. I know on the video I said on that video particularly, I did say that it's making me sound prophetic, because a lot of the things that I've been saying are coming true. Because whenever you see a weakness in someone's character, or not, I'm just using that for an example. Whenever you see weaknesses in anyone's character or flaws in anything, that flaw tends to metastasize and spread over time. So what I'm trying to say is that whenever you're given a responsibility to run a program, and if you have flaws in the way you do certain things that may seem small initially, as you progress in your tenure there, the bigger decisions that you have to make will come with flawed actions. So those flawed actions become more publicized, and they become bigger, because the bigger the decision that you make, the bigger ramifications that come with that, right? Because the bigger the decision you make means that whatever decision you make is going to either have a great positive impact and have a ripple effect to affect your entire program, or it may be negative in the kind of messaging that it sends forth to your team. Because if everything's about branding, then you have to be very careful in what you do. I feel like the decision of you allowing your 2 sons to go to do a photo shoot at Paris, and I know it's just the team's first meeting, and I know the games are months away, but I think that little things like that can go a long way. That's a brand. You've implicitly conveyed a message to the team that team's not important. Branding is important. But even in that, in a macrocosm of that incident that occurred, that is a brand. I want you guys to understand there are 2 types of branding. Yeah, you can go out, your NIL money, you can go out and do a fashion show in Paris and get your money from that, right? You get paid, you're taking care of you, you're getting your bag, quote unquote, you're doing what you want to do. That's a message that you're sending. That's your brand, right? You're getting yourself out there. They even said it themselves, the 2 boys. I don't know which one particularly said it, but they said they want to be multidimensional. Okay, so if multidimensional is your brand, that's great. But then there's another brand that's set, because every brand is precursed with a message. Every brand comes with a message, just like commercials. Commercials are transmitting a message to you as the receiver that's watching it. So therefore, a brand is crystallized in the mind, and in the abstract mind, you conceive it, right? So when Coach Prime says it's okay for my 2 boys to do this, that's another brand that you're setting. So you're setting 2 brands towards one referent, which is the football program. You have one referent, the football program, but now you're conveying 2 brands. One brand is that football is important. I'm all about ball. We're all about winning. We want players that are disciplined, players that are fast, players that are smart, yada, yada, yada. You're building that. But then your actions to permit your 2 sons to go do that is another message that's conveyed to the team. So in the pursuit of pursuing personal branding for your children, to get the money, to get the exposure, to be multidimensional, you're also inadvertently sending another message to your team to say, hey, well, be selfish and seek yourself first. But then before game day, it's all about team. But now you can see how those 2 messages can be conflicting. So whenever I speak on certain things, it's not that I'm hating. I'm looking at it from a very analytical lens. I'm looking at it from a deeper perspective of what those things can do. It's like raising children. Every little action you take as an adult sends a message to your kids, whether you're communicating with them directly or indirectly. They're always watching you. I can't come in the house. smoke drugs and then preach to my kids not to be drug users. They're going to look at me like, well, your message is one thing, but your actions are another thing. That sends a convoluted message to my children, and that's not wise. Take that same analogy and take that same parallel and add it to what Coach Prime permitted or tolerated from his two best players on the team. So that's why I said those things. It's not that I'm prophetic. It's just that I'm looking at the base decisions that a man makes, and I'm just prognosticating in the future of what types of decisions that person will make if they don't humble themselves and take correction and take critique like I do. So when people critique me, it's not easy to take critique because all you want to hear is good stuff, but that's not real. That's not realistic. You have to hear negative. Now it's okay to rebut it, to have a comeback, but always consider the minds of other people. Don't look at everyone's critique as you're just dumb, you don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm not going to do that. Because even this person that's giving me their critique, like I'm giving you time. I'm actually reading your stuff and I'm just rebutting it, but I don't think you're stupid. I don't think that you're dumb. I think you have every right to express your opinion the way you see fit. But then when I looked at your stuff, it forced me to look at myself to say, hey, am I doing this? No, I'm not really doing this for money. I'm not making any money off of it. I have to question those things in my mind. So it puts me back on the right path as I initially started. So it's always good to have those buffers in your life. People who you want to call haters are not necessarily haters. They're just there to keep you in line. We are a community of human beings. We're a human race. And it's up to us to perceive the information that we're getting, be it negative or positive, as a way to keep us balanced. Not saying that you should seek negative or critique all the time, but you should welcome the critique just as much as you welcome the good messages that you hear. So I never said I was prophetic, but he said on here that I cannot see into the future, that I'm not prophetic, but I never said that. And then he says Coach Prime is a blessing to you. Probably if it was not for him, no one would know who I am. Yeah, he is a blessing to me. I never said he wasn't. I never cursed him. So if I'm not cursing him, then it's implied that he's a blessing, because if he did not exist, I wouldn't even have any topics to talk about. I probably would be talking about other topics, but the other topics that I'm talking about wouldn't be getting as much attention as when I talk about Coach Prime. And when I say get attention, it's not like I'm getting like a bunch of views and getting millions of views on these videos. It's just, a couple of hundred views that I get. I mean, that's, and relatively speaking, that's nothing. But here's a deeper response that I gave to at Phyllis Taylor, okay, when they talked about Coach Prime is a blessing to me, and I agree he is, and I think we are all blessings to one another. It just depends on how we receive the message. If you want to look at the cup half full or half empty, then that's going to dictate the way you respond, and it's going to dictate your whole aura, because you're going to be walking around seeking approval rather than seeking to be better. And the only way you can get better is to go through some type of resistance. Just like in weight training, you don't get bigger muscles by just sitting there lifting a feather. You have to lift something that goes against you. And as you lift it, you become better. You have to go against the resistance. So people who resist me, it's okay. You're needed. You're needed for me to improve. I cannot improve and be better without you. I can't improve when people keep telling me you're good. I like your takes. I like your takes. I like that. It's good. It's good to hear that because it's a balance. But that doesn't mean that I'm perfect. So I'm going to actually acquiesce and adhere to those people who are saying things that I may not agree with, but I'm gonna give them the time to express themselves. Okay, here, I told at Phyllis Taylor, I said thank you for contributing. Yeah, I said thank you for contributing to the channel. I'm not making any money doing this. Do you believe that I'm that good to make money off this? Seriously? Because I asked that question because if he or she thinks that I'm trying to make money off of this, then I don't know. Is that an underhanded compliment that you think that I'm really good at this, that I may make money off of it? I don't know. So I asked that. I say, seriously, I don't think I'm trying to make money off of this. I'm in my car. Like I don't have a nice sound. I don't have like the graphics popping up. I don't do the things to entice people. You can actually say that I have like one of the most probably boring channels that talks about Prime. I'm just sitting in my car, or sometimes I'm sitting in the office at my house, and most of you guys could probably hear my kids screaming in the background. So I don't know. I don't have the graphics. I don't have a nice microphone. I don't have the back. Like you can tell that this is not something that I'm trying to do for money. I'm not pursuing this. This is just me talking on social media. So yeah. So I put obtain notoriety. I said no. And I said the person that's obtaining notoriety is Coach Prime. And that's his modus of operandi. I'm not trying to obtain notoriety. Coach Prime is. Whatever he's doing is to obtain that notoriety so he can get more players to come to his university. He likes the limelight. He can handle it. He's been that way since he was an athlete. Okay? So I'm not the one doing that. That's Coach Prime's modus of operandi. He loves notoriety, and he likes to use terms like "I ain't hard to find" in his verbal slogan. Notoriety is a job for his sons who decided to skip a meeting to be recognized at a fashion show in Paris. Now, if that's not notoriety, I don't know what is. In the grand scheme, no one knows me, relatively a nobody compared to most, and I like it that way. So when that's just me responding to Phyllis Taylor saying that I'm trying to be notarized, but no one knows me. But I'm not wanting to be known. Like, I'm not trying to be famous off of this. Misleading me, no one. I lead myself and do what aligns with my consciousness. And I talked about that earlier. No one told me to do this. No one's misleading me. I'm just doing this because I want to do it. In regard to blessings, we are all blessings to one another, including the alleged inanimate objects and social constructs around us. So everything's a blessing. Even the things that are perceived as being bad are a blessing because it puts us on the right track. You know, when we see something negative, we try to move back to the positive. That ebb and flow of life, of always trying to stay even keel, is what makes life livable. Because if everything was always good, we wouldn't respect the good. The good would become bad. Either way, as living organisms, it's in our DNA, it's in our construct, it's in our minds from a metaphysical perspective that we are always seeking something to validate something. So if everything was always good all the time, we would find a way to splice the good and have some part of the good be bad so we can respect the real good. So no matter how great something is, we're always going to find a way to dissect it, to strain it of what it really is, to dilute it to the point where it's not all good anymore. Now that's where people say you're taking things for granted or you're being ungrateful. It's not that people are being ungrateful. It's that no matter how great something is, people are always going to chisel at it to get off the excess or get off the things that are not so purely good in its most pristine state. So therefore, as living organisms, we're always striving to always have that balance of good and bad, dark and light, up and down. It's what gives is a law of balance, is a law of opposites. You need that to function normally. So everything's a blessing. Every object, everything. My car is a blessing. The fact that I can sit at every object that's made of an atom, and all objects are made up of atoms. Anything that's made up of an atom is alive and living. I know you guys may not think that, but if the creator of the universe created everything from atoms, and anything that we create is just fusing atoms together and taking them and making them, shaping them in a certain way that's useful for us. So your house is a living being. A tree is living. Your car is living. So everything's a blessing. I don't look at Prime as a curse. And so in people who think that I hate him, no, I know he's a blessing. And that's why when this person made the statement about a blessing, I ran with it. And I'm like, wow, you get it. He is a blessing. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that at all. So I put on here the device that permitted, and I get into a deeper rant here. I put on here that we are all blessings to one another, including the alleged inanimate objects and social constructs around us. I said that Colorado football is a blessing for Prime, as Prime is a blessing for me. Paris fashion show is a blessing to the Sanders, as my commentary is a blessing towards those who hadn't conjured up a perspective or an analysis that mirrors mine. So I'm a blessing to other people too, because some people may listen to what I say and say, oh, I never heard that perspective before. And that could be a blessing to them. All right. And then I get blessings from them when they say, hey, I like your commentary. Keep it up, yada, yada, yada. So we're all feeding off one another. But what I want to is implore us to be better at, or aspire us to be better at, is to take the things that we don't like, the constructive criticism, even the slight insults, take those, try to find something that you consider. Not when people are cursing you out or calling you out of your name and stuff. Not that, because I don't stand for that. I'm talking about when someone says something about you, and it may not be true. It may be wrong. but just calm yourself down, take the critique, and you also use that to fuel you as well. It's needed. We can't always seek the good. Accept the criticism, embrace that as well. Okay, so here, my commentary is a blessing towards those who hadn't conjured up a perspective or an analysis that mirrors mine. I said the device that permitted you to type your expression towards me is a blessing to you, as YouTube is a blessing to me for affording me the freedom of speech to render my critique and analysis on a polarizing figure as Deion Sanders, aka Coach Prime. We'll make a deal. And he wants me to stop, because remember, he prefaced his message, he says stop. So I said, okay, I'll stop. This is when I'll stop. I'll stop. All right, we'll make a deal. I'll stop doing what I'm doing when Coach Prime stops coaching. So, because if Coach Prime stops coaching, I don't have anything else to talk about. So as long as he's coaching, I'm gonna make my videos, especially when I get an update about a kid, about a student, about something that's going on, in the locker room, or whatever it is, whatever news I get on my Google feeds, I'm gonna talk about it. So that was my response, and I gave you a shout out, Phyllis. Not that you needed it, but I wanted to give a deeper message, a dualistic message, not just a message to shout you out, but a message to the listeners who actually pay attention to me, is to always, in life, I don't care if it's your wife, if you're a woman, if it's your husband, your kids, a teacher, a pastor, whoever it is, don't take constructive criticism too personal. It's not that serious. Listen to what people have to say, because there's a passion that's ignited within people to actually afford them or impel them or compel them with the urge to actually type a message. See, when I'm getting these messages from people, the fact that you're taking the time to type or to write something with your thumbs, if you're on your smartphone device, it means that first you have to think of it. Okay? That means that whatever I said resonated with you to the point that you have to think of it. That's one. Now, then it means that you have to formulate your thoughts and put them into writing. That's two. Once you've done that, now you're writing it. That's three. So 3 things had to actually happen for you to write your message. So if your message is positive, good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Gratitude. I'm thankful. If your message is not even negative, if your message is full of criticism about me, about what I'm doing, about what I'm saying, that's good too. That's good too. And I'm not saying that I've always been good at that. I'm an older man, but when I was younger, I didn't take criticism too well. But it's good to take criticism, because only a fool, the bigger fool is the fool that doesn't know that they're a fool. When you shun every point of criticism in your life and you're always seeking approval, that's childish. Children do that. Children do that. All right. As adults, we have to be able to compartmentalize messages and be able to take the good and the bad, the positive news and the constructive criticism that we receive on the daily. Yeah, it's just part of life. All right. So again, shout out to you at Phyllis Taylor. At Phyllis Taylor, thank you for your message. And I'm going to be doing another shout out too to another guy. I think his name is Unbiased. Man, we had a dialogue. We went back and forth, but not in a negative way. We spoke back and forth, because some of the things he said resonated with me, and it's forcing me to be more balanced. And he's not the only one. There's certain people that call me out and say, "Hey, man, I listen to your stuff, but it seems like most of your content is too negative. Like, you need to be balanced." Da, da, da. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, you know what? They're right. They're right. Because you don't want to be. There's some people who have channels that are just overwhelmingly positive about Coach Prime. But I don't want to be that guy that's overwhelmingly negative either. I don't want to do that. So I have to practice what I preach. If I'm always preaching balance and being fair, then I also have to be fair with my analysis as well. Meaning that if I do see something that's worthy of criticism, I will. But if I also see something that's worthy of praise, I'm also going to praise that as well and talk it up. All right. All right. Thank you guys for listening, or for spending 24 minutes of your time listening to me, to this video. Leave a comment and tell me what you guys think. All right. Bye.